The stars were calm that night. Earth's telescopes showed distant galaxies spinning quietly. Space stations ran their usual checks. Colonists on Mars and Europa sent their daily reports. Everything felt normal. Then it happened. A massive signal appeared in Earth's sky. It didn't come from nearby space. It came from the center of the galaxy, a part of the universe Earth had only heard about in rumors, the core systems. The message was sent on every frequency, translated in every language. It echoed through the silence of space. "This is the Galactic Council," the voice declared. "You are not alone. We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. We bring peace, law, and order. To be part of our galaxy, you must obey our laws. All new species must pay tribute. You will send gold, you will send soldiers, you will send your smartest people. This is not a request. This is law." At first, Earth's people thought it was a joke, a prank, a hoax sent from deep space. But the ships appeared next. They weren't small. Some were the size of cities, dark, sharp, and silent. They hovered over Earth's atmosphere like monsters waiting to strike. Hundreds of them, the Council sent another message. "You have 7 days to reply." World leaders gathered in underground bunkers. The United Earth Coalition argued, shouted, panicked. "This could be war," said President Alina Reyes. "We're not ready," whispered General Mbeki. "They'll crush us." "They want people," said Dr. Nakamura, shaking. "They're not asking for peace. This is slavery." All over Earth, people watched the skies and held their breath. The media called it the silence before the storm. No one slept. Every nation waited for a decision. Then something strange happened. On the 6th day, all communication from the Council stopped. The ships above Earth went still, as if they were waiting. Everyone thought maybe Earth had sent something back, but no one in the public knew for sure. On the 7th day, the Galactic Council received a reply. Not a speech, not a video, just one word, a single word, translated into their ancient tongue. It came through every Starlink, every beacon, every satellite. The word was simple. No silence followed. Complete and terrifying silence. High above, in the Council's fortress world, alien leaders stared at the message. One of them, a tall being covered in silver fur, growled, "Is this a mistake?" The elder replied, "Humans do not make mistakes like this." "This is defiance," hissed another. "This is war." The Council had faced many species before, rebellions, resistance, but never this, never a species bold enough to send one word as a reply. Council Commander Vroll stood from his chair. His voice was cold. "Crush them." Warships were mobilized. A punishment fleet of 100 vessels was sent toward Earth. Their job was simple: to destroy military bases, capture leaders, and show the galaxy what happens when someone says no. But when the fleet arrived near Jupiter's orbit, they didn't find fear. They found nothing. No satellites, no weapons, no response, until a voice appeared. "In there comes, welcome to our system," it said. The captain of the fleet raised an eyebridge. "Who speaks?" "I do," said the voice. "Calm human. We knew you were coming. We've been preparing for a long time." Suddenly, every ship in the fleet received a code. 1 second later, their engines shut down, their weapons locked, their shields fell. "What is happening?" shouted the alien officers. "EMP cyber attack." But it wasn't Earth's technology. It was something older. Alien tech, stolen from 1,000 years of quiet human exploration gathered from dead ships, wrecked drones, and black market star cores. Earth had studied them in silence, in shadows. And now, they used that knowledge. The entire punishment fleet went dark in minutes, helpless, floating. Then the voice returned. "We said no, you didn't listen." All at once, the alien fleet exploded from the inside, planted bombs, infiltration, units. Earth's secret defense, Project Aegis, had already boarded them before they reached the planet. Only debris remained. When news reached the Council, panic began to spread. Not fear of war, but fear of uncertainty. Who were the humans, really? How did they break a Council fleet in seconds? Rumors spread across the stars. Whispers, "They don't fear death. They've been watching us longer than we knew. They said one word and destroyed a fleet." In secret, several minor species began to question the Council. A few even contacted Earth through hidden channels. They offered friendship, knowledge, and alliance. Inside the council, tension grew. Commander Vrol demanded full invasion. Others wanted negotiation. Then came the second blow. Another council fleet landed on a human colony on Tau Ceti. It was supposed to be a quiet operation: capture the planet, raise the flag, and force the humans to kneel. But the colony was gone: houses, empty, systems offline. The population evacuated when troops entered the central dome. They found a recording playing on loop. It showed the Earth flag and a single line of text: "We knew you'd come. We are already somewhere else." As soldiers laughed at the message, the ground beneath them cracked. Massive underground explosives detonated. Nuclear, magnetic, and gravity pulse devices all triggered at once. The colony and the entire invasion force vanished in a burst of fire that reached the planet's orbit. Back on the Council homeworld, many began to question leadership. The galaxy was supposed to be under control, but Earth had defied them and survived no worse. Earth was winning. More species reached out to the humans in secret. One powerful race, the Velthari, turned against the Council. They had long hated its corruption. Now they had a reason to act. Velthari leaders delivered classified maps, codes, and secrets to the human government. Earth now knew where the Council stored its communication, AI on ancient machine that kept every world linked. A plan was born. One final message. A stealth fleet launched from Earth's farthest moon. Human soldiers, silent, trained, unseen, joined forces with Velthari agents. They moved through forgotten gates, shadow routes, and reached the AI core inside the great machine. They left a message: "Let the galaxy hear our silence." They shut it down. Across the stars, the galaxy went quiet. Messages stopped. Beacons went dark. Trade routes collapsed. The Council's grip broken. One final broadcast came from Earth, sent through a new human-built beacon. It reached every planet, every species. It said, "We are not conquerors. We are not slaves. We are human. We will not bow. But if you seek peace, we will share it. If you seek war, we are ready." The screen faded. One last word remained on the screen: "no dot," and the stars stayed quiet, forever changed. The Council was no longer silent. It was angry. Inside the Great Hall of Judgment, the most powerful beings in the galaxy sat in a circle. There were 12 of them, each one the leader of a species that had ruled for thousands of years. Their skin was scaled, furred, or plated in crystal armor. Their languages were different. But now they spoke one thing in common: fear of humanity. "They've cost us over 1 million lives. They destroyed our AI network," growled Veltron, his metal face twitching. "Our planets are blind." "They said no," whispered the oldest among them, "and they meant it." Silence followed. Then came the question no one wanted to ask. What do we do now? Some demanded full invasion. Others spoke of diplomacy, but deep inside, each of them feared something they could not say out loud. What if humanity is stronger than us? Meanwhile, Earth had changed. After the Council's failed attacks, humanity didn't celebrate. They prepared. Factories on Luna worked, day and night. Stations on Mars built weapons. Colonies began to expand faster than ever. New starships were launched, stealth cruisers, long-range missiles, deep space detectors, and the message was clear: we will never be caught sleeping again. President Alina Reyes stood inside the Earth Defense Command with her top officers. She stared at a hologram of Council space. "They will come again," she said. General Mabeki nodded. "They can't afford not to. If we survive, others will rebel." "They already are," said Dr. Nakamura. "We're getting secret messages." Uprisings have begun on 3 Council worlds. A junior officer stepped forward. "Ma'am, we just received something strange." Everyone turned. "What kind of strange?" Alina asked. "It's a message, not from the Council, from a race called the Zithari. They say they want to speak with us." In peace, the room fell quiet. The Zithari were known to be ruthless merchants, smart, dangerous, and always on the winning side. If they were reaching out, it meant something big was shifting. Alina gave the order: "Put them through." A tall, thin alien appeared on the screen. Its eyes were deep black. Its voice was soft. "We watched your answer." "One word," the Zithari leader said. "It was beautiful. You're not part of the council? Alina asked. We pay them like many others, but now we think you might be the future. What do you want? General Mebeki asked. Trade, information, maybe more. President Alina leaned forward. And what do you offer? The Zithri smiled. The Council's secrets. That night, Earth received the locations of 5 hidden Council weapon depots, secret gates, and the blueprints to an ancient system of Star Bridge's wormhole technology faster than anything Earth had. The tide was turning, but the Council was not done. Far across the galaxy, Commander Vroll stared at a star map. He had been quiet for days, but now his voice was calm and deadly. No more warnings, he said. Send the Black Armada. His officers stared at him. Sir, those ships haven't moved in centuries. Then wake them, he ordered. The Black Armada wasn't just a fleet, it was a legend. Hundreds of massive dreadnoughts, built with dark matter cores and void cannons, weapons banned by galactic law. They were made to end civilizations, and now they were heading for Earth. 3 weeks later, Earth's outer sensors caught them. A massive shadow moved across space near the edge of the solar system. 1 ship, then 10, then hundreds. Their size blocked entire star fields. Their heat signatures were like small suns. They're not here to talk, said Admiral Kor. Human fleets mobilized. Drones swarmed. Defense satellites charged their weapons. But deep inside, everyone knew this was different. The Council had sent a message of its own. If humans would not kneel, then they would burn. Inside the Human Command Center, alarms blared. Screens showed enemy movement. Estimate time to Earth. Alina asked. 72 hours. Send out the Exodus code, she ordered. Every colony, every station, every ship received the same command. Prepare to scatter. Protect the species. Humanity must survive, no matter what. But not everyone ran on Europa. Captain Layla Chen led a secret unit known as Echo Black. Their mission: stop the Armada before it reached Earth. Her team had trained for this moment for years. No uniforms, no medals, just ghosts in the void. Layla looked at her crew. You all know the mission, she said. If we fail, Earth dies. If we succeed, no one will ever know what we did. Her team smiled. That's how we like it, said Ruiz, loading his railgun. They launched from Europa in complete silence, hidden by stolen Council cloaking tech. They moved through the dark between stars toward the Armada's heart. The command, Ship Vengeance Eternal Dot. Inside that ship, Commander Vroll stood before a giant star map. He didn't fear humans, not really. They think they are clever, he said to his crew. They are loud, proud, but they are children playing with fire. He had no idea the fire was already inside his ship. Echo Black infiltrated through an engine vent. They moved like shadows, disabling sensors, planting charges, hacking systems dotted the ship's AI core. Layla paused. We're not just shutting it down, she whispered. We're taking control. With help from Zethari codes and Velthari tech, they reprogrammed the Dreadnought's AI dot at 102 UTC. Something impossible happened. The Vengeance Eternal turned around. Then, ship by ship, the rest of the Armada followed. Human Command watched in disbelief. They're retreating. No, said Admiral Kor. They've been hijacked. The stolen ships formed a circle around Earth. Then activated shields. A new message went out. From Layla to the galaxy. Earth is under our protection. You want it? Come and take it. President Alina smiled for the first time in weeks, then turned serious. Now send our answer to the Council, the same one as before. One word, no dot, but this time. It echoed across every system. Planets long under Council rule began to rise. Slave races broke free. Old enemies of the Council returned from hiding. The Council had awakened something. Ancient, not a weapon, not a monster, a species that refuses to kneel. Humanity. The galaxy was no longer under control. Ever since the Black Armada had turned against the Council, things had changed. Stars that once glowed under the Council's rule now burned with rebellion. Old colonies rose up. Hidden fleets emerged, silent. Worlds began to speak again. At the center of this chaos was Earth. The Council's greatest fear had come true, not because Earth was the strongest, or the most advanced, but because Earth had inspired others to say what they never dared before. No, inside Earth's Defense Command. President Alina Reyes watched live feeds from across the galaxy. Revolts were happening on 4 planets. Council ships were being fired upon by their own allies. General Mabeki stepped forward. The Valkyrians declared independence. The Eltari overthrew their council guards. Dr. Nakamura added, "We've received 12 requests for communication in the last hour. Species want to form an alliance with us." Alina stayed silent, then asked, "Are we ready?" "No," and Becky admitted, "but neither are they." She gave a small smile. Then we moved forward, quietly at the same time, somewhere deep in the Orion Arm. The council gathered in a hidden fortress world called Theron Prime. The Hall of Judgment, once filled with confidence, now echoed with nervous voices. "They've hijacked our fleet," growled Zarl. "They've turned our slaves into rebels. They are not just defiant, they are contagious." "We should burn their homeworld to dust," said Veltron, his voice sharp like steel. "They must be made into a warning." "But how?" another leader asked. "They know our moves before we make them." A cloaked figure stepped out from the shadows. No one saw who it was, but everyone listened when he spoke. "Let them believe they're winning," the voice said. "Let them reach for the stars." And then we cut off the hand. He dropped a holodive in the center of the room. On it was the image of Project STARBREAKER. It wasn't a weapon, it was a trap. Far away, unaware of what was being planned, Earth launched a mission of peace. A diplomatic team, led by Ambassador Nia Halleck, boarded a sleek black cruiser and headed to the neutral zone of Arcadia, place once used for trade before the Council closed it off. Nia was calm but alert. She was Earth's voice now. The message was simple. We want allies, not subjects. Join us by choice. Stand for freedom. Stand together. At Arcadia Station, hundreds of envoys from different races arrived. Some looked human. Others had wings, scales, or liquid bodies that shimmered in the light. All eyes were on the humans. Nia stepped onto the central platform. She took a breath and spoke. "My people were given a choice, kneel or be destroyed. We said no, not because we are powerful, but because we believe no one should live in fear." Some listened, some mocked. One large alien from the Crack's dominion laughed. "Humans speak boldly," he said. "But how long can you keep this up? You are few. The Council is many." Nia looked straight into his eyes. "We're not few anymore," she said. "Look around you." Dozens of species nodded quietly. The message was spreading, but watching from orbit, hidden behind a Council moon, was a ship, dark, silent, deadly inside. Its Council assassins waited for the signal. Their goal was clear: kill the human ambassador, destroy Earth's message of unity, blame it on another race. Start war, then. The signal came. The ship's weapons powered up, just as the human cruiser prepared to leave the station. A blast tore through the docking bay. Fire, screams. Air was sucked out into space. Nia was thrown back as the floor shattered. Alarms blinked. Her guards pulled her to safety. On the Council ship, the assassin commander smiled. Target eliminated, but they were wrong. Nia Halleck survived, badly wounded. She was pulled into the emergency escape pod by her aide. "Lieutenant Rafik, you're not dying here," he shouted as they launched. The pod flew into deep space, hiding in the shadows of asteroids. The diplomatic ship exploded behind them, creating chaos on Arcadia Station. Back on Earth, the news hit like a thunderstorm. Ambassador Nia presumed dead. President Alina stood frozen. We walked right into their trap, and Becky growled. "No," Alina said, her eyes sharp. They walked into ours. She gave an order no one expected. "Activate Phantom Protocol." That order woke up Earth's most secret team. Echo Black had been successful once, but now they had a second mission. Find who attacked Nia. Find the truth. Meanwhile, in a cold pod floating through space, Nia opened her eyes. She was alive. Barely. "We need help," Rafik said, trying to restart the beacon. "Our signal's too weak." Nia touched his arm. "Send it anyway." The signal was short, just 6 words. "I am alive. Tell the truth." On Earth, technicians picked it up. Everyone stood silent, shocked. "She's alive," Alina whispered. "Yes, ma'am," the tech said, "and she wants us to tell the galaxy." Alina turned to the media crew. "Get ready to broadcast." Across the galaxy, screens lit up again. The human ambassador's face appeared bloodied, burned, but alive. "I am Nia Halleck. I came to Arcadia in peace. But I was attacked not by rebels, not by pirates, by the Council. They fear unity, they fear hope." And with that, the galaxy erupted. Species that had waited in silence now roared. The Council's lie had failed. Revolts began everywhere. Ships turned. Leaders disappeared. Chaos took over Council space. But the Council wasn't finished yet. They launched Project Starbreaker, a massive device built to fire a gravity pulse, strong enough to rip a planet apart, their target Earth. The device charged slowly, hidden in the dark of a dying star. No signal, no sound. But they didn't know Earth had spies now. Valkyrie agents intercepted the activation code. Earth had ours. Inside the Defense Command, Admiral Kor looked at the data. "If that thing fires, we lose everything." President Alina nodded. "Then we don't wait." "Orders?" Mbeki asked. "Send the fleet." It wasn't just Earth's ships this time. It was a fleet of many flags, Valkyrie cruisers, Zathari jump frigates, even old rebel fighters now. Painted with human symbols, all headed toward the device, toward STARBREAK. In the final hour, as Earth watched from home, one last message played across human screens. Nia Halleck, still recovering, still defiant, her voice calm, firm. "We were asked to give tribute. We gave our answer. One word. And now, we give our action. We will not kneel." The fleet vanished into hyperspace, and the galaxy held its breath once more. The Allied fleet burst out of hyperspace near a dying star. A red giant, bloated and cold, loomed ahead like a fading god. Floating beside it was something unnatural. Deep inside its core was the weapon, a gravity pulse cannon, strong enough to tear Earth apart in a single blast. Admiral Kor stood on the bridge of the human flagship Resolute. "There it is," she said quietly. The enemy weapon gave off no signals, no defense grid. It just hovered in silence. To Silent Dot, Captain Idris, commander of the Valkyrie cruiser Lance of Ice, scanned the area. "No escort ships," he said. "That's not right," unless Kor frowned. "They want us to come closer." Still, there was no choice. If Starbreaker activated, Earth would be lost. "All ships move in formation," she ordered. "Deploy drones. Scan for mines. Prepare for combat." The fleet spread like a spear in space. Human ships at the center, allies on the flanks. Hundreds of drones zipped forward like fireflies, scanning the dark. On Earth, every city watched live. People stood in streets, in schools, in homes. The transmission was broadcast on every screen. Soldiers, workers, children, waiting. President Alina stood in the control chamber. Her hands gripped the rail. Behind her, a war room full of screens showed heartbeats, ship positions, energy readings. "They'll make it," she whispered. "They have to." But they didn't know what waited inside Starbreaker. Inside the massive station, Council engineers stood in silence. Robotic systems hummed. In the center chamber, a tall alien named Zertan gave the final order. "Wait until they enter range," he said. "Then activate the pulse and end this." He wasn't here to conquer. He was here to erase Earth from the galaxy. Nothing less. Back outside. Echo Black had arrived. Captain Layla Chen and her team had infiltrated the far side of the station using stolen access codes from the Valkyrie. Their ship, painted black and invisible to scanners, floated just meters. From Starbreaker's hull. Inside, her team drilled into the wall. "Quiet," she whispered. "No gunfire, no alarms. We're ghosts." They entered through a vent, slipped past patrol bots, and moved toward the main power core. Layla held up a small Sphera neural spike bomb, designed to melt any AI brain in 5 seconds. "We plant this," she said, "and get out. The fleet finishes the job." Meanwhile, Admiral Kor ships had reached striking range. The enemy still hadn't moved. "Something's wrong," said her first officer. "Still no defense." "Open hailing frequency," Kor said. Her voice echoed into space. "This is Admiral Kor of the Human Alliance Fleet. We know what this station is. Shut it down, or we will shut it down for you." No answer then. Suddenly movement. Dozens. of hidden cannons opened across the station's surface. "Too late," Core shouted. "Evasive maneuvers. Shields up, return fire." The sky lit up dot beams, rockets, plasma. Human ships twisted through space, firing as they moved. Velthri cruisers dove into the cannon line, buying time. Sithari drones overloaded enemy circuits. Even the smallest ships fought with the fury of species who had lived under fear for centuries. Inside Starbreaker, Layla's team reached the core. Guards spotted them. Sirens rang. Gunfire echoed through the halls. "Plant the spike," she shouted. "Ruiz! Her weapons!" Expert slammed it into the AI core. Sparks flew, lights dimmed. But too late, the countdown had already begun. Zerdan stood at the control panel. They're inside. "But we're ahead." Fired the pulse, he ordered. The station began to hum. Energy built at its center, the weapon locked. Onto Earth's coordinates. On the Resolute, Core saw the spike appear on her tactical screen. "They've activated the pulse," her officer said. "Impact in 2 minutes." "We're too far," Core whispered. "We can't stop it from..." Out here, back inside, Layla stared at the ticking countdown. "We can't disarm it," Ruiz said. "It's locked in," Layla breathed deep. "Then we stop the station." "How?" She looked up at the core. "We overload the energy coils. Chain reaction. Blow the whole thing. You're talking about killing all of us." Layla nodded. "But we save Earth." Ruiz didn't hesitate. "Then let's do it." They spread charges around the main coils. Static filled the air. Sparks flew. One by one, the explosives were armed. Layla tapped her cum. "This is Echo Black. We're triggering a core breach." "Everyone get clear." Admiral Core heard it. Her eyes widened. "No, they're sacrificing themselves," the Velthri captain said softly. Core stood tall. "Pull the fleet back. Full speed." Inside Starbreaker, Layla looked at her team. No fear, just quiet strength. She activated the detonator. The station shook. Flames burst from the walls. The countdown stopped at 0:19. Zertan turned, stunned. "What have they done?" And then Starbreaker exploded. A sun ignited in space. The blast tore through everything shrapnel. Power, heat, fire. The wave hit the edge of the Allied fleet, but shields held. The station was gone, completely. And Echo Black was gone too. On Earth, people watched the screen go white, then back to signal, then nothing. Silence. President Alina stood frozen. Then, a voice. "This is Admiral Core," the transmission said. "Starbreaker is destroyed. Earth is safe." The room erupted. Cheers, tears, relief, but also loss. They all knew what Echo Black had done. Alina stepped to the screen and spoke to the entire planet. "Today, we survived. Not because we begged, not because we bowed, but because we fought, and because brave people gave everything for others. We are not alone anymore. The galaxy is changing, and so are we." She looked into the camera. "To those who still think humanity can be controlled, our answer is the same. One word, no. Far away in a hidden council chamber. The leaders watched the destruction. Starbreaker-gone. Their plan broken, their control falling apart, and they knew the war had only just begun. The explosion of Starbreaker didn't just light up a corner of space, it lit a fire across the galaxy. Worlds that once bowed to the Council now raised their fists. The message was clear. Humanity had destroyed the unstoppable. On every screen, across every world, the image repeated. The Earth fleet pulling back. The Starbreaker glowing bright, and then gone. One word appeared under the footage in a dozen languages. No but, while the galaxy celebrated. Earth mourned, the Echo Black, team gone, Captain Layla Chen, Sergeant Ruiz. Every name was honored. Statues were planned. Families were notified. Yet there was no time to rest. Inside the Earth Defense Command, President Alina stood at the war table. Admiral Core pointed to the newest reports. The Council is falling back to the core systems, but they're building something. Massive energy signatures, deep underground. Dr. Nakamura zoomed in on one Planetragon Prima Council stronghold, hidden behind 3 black holes. There, building a final defense, he said, a fortress the size of a moon. If they finish it, no one will break through again. Alina didn't blink. Then we break it before they finish. We don't have enough ships, Kor warned. But we do have allies now, Alina said. Across the galaxy, species were watching, waiting. Some were afraid. Others were angry. Most were unsure. So Alina sent a call, a signal transmitted not in threat, but in invitation. This is Earth. We are not conquerors. We don't want to rule. We want peace. But we will not be slaves. We said no, and we say it for every world that's ever been afraid to say it. Stand with us? The response took hours. Then it came one by one, the Velthera confirmed. The Zethari joined. The Ashka nomads sent fleets. The molten-skinned Toravens, even the quiet Kirill, once council scientists, defected in 48 hours. A new force was born, the Free Worlds Alliance. Their first mission, take Ragan Prime. The council knew it was coming. Their spies had heard the speeches. They'd seen Earth rise from a backwater planet to a galactic threat. But they didn't expect what came next. A small council research moon suddenly went dark. Then another. And then a full war fleet disappeared. No distress signals, no debris, just silence. Inside the council's war chamber, fear turned to fury. Commander Vroll slammed his fist against the table. They're not just fighting us, they're hunting us. He turned to his generals. We attack Earth again, directly. A younger officer shook his head. Sir, we tried that twice. Vroll's eyes glowed red. Then we try something worse. Meanwhile, far from Earth, inside a lonely cargo ship drifting near the edge of a gas giant, something stirred. A man opened his eyes. He was floating in a sealed pod. Wires connected to his spine. Air hissed from tubes. Lights blinked. A face appeared. Above him, soft, familiar. Nia, he croaked. She smiled. Welcome back, Captain. Layla Chen was alive, barely recovered from deep inside Starbreaker's wreckage. She had been pulled into a hidden chamber moments before the blast. A last-second emergency protocol triggered. Her vitals dropped to near death. Her pod launched into space and vanished until a rebel salvage team found her days later. Now, she was being kept alive in a secret base, orbiting a dead star codename, Hololight. How long? Layla asked. 17 days, Nia said. Starbreaker's gone. You're a legend, Layla blinked. My team, Nia looked down. Hero's tears welled in Layla's eyes. Then she looked up again, cold, steady. Then let me back. Doctors say you need a month to recover. Layla shook her head. I need 5 minutes. Back on Earth, Alina stood before the fleet's launch bay. Hundreds of ships were lined up in orbit, human, alien, old rebel vessels, painted with new flags. They weren't just going to attack Ragan Prime, they were going to end the Council's power once and for all. She looked into the camera, broadcasting across every free world. We are not perfect. We are not the most powerful. But we have something the Council fears. Choice. Today, we don't fight because we want war. We fight so others never have to. Let this be the last time someone is told to kneel. She raised her hand, and the fleet jumped across the stars. In a flash of light, they vanished. Thousands of ships, hundreds of species, all headed to one place. The final battlefield. Ragan Prime wasn't just a planet. It was a fortress built inside a ring of 3 spinning black holes. It was protected by shifting gravity fields, quantum barriers, and Council warships larger than cities. It was where the Council stored its ancient technologist tools from before recorded history and now. It was Earth's target. The Free Worlds Alliance fleet came out of warp just outside the kill zone. The stars shimmered strangely here, twisted by gravity. Communication was difficult. Scanners flickered. Pilots sweated. But no one turned back. Inside the command ship, Resolute, Admiral Kor stood on the war deck, surrounded by alien officers and human commanders. The fleet spread around them like a storm cloud. They've prepared for this, Kor said. Expect hidden weapons, suicide traps, false surrenders. Captain Idris of the Velthiri gave a toothy smile. Then let's make it a fair fight. The human ships took point. Velthiri stealth cruisers flanked the sides. Zethari drones moved in first, scanning for mines. Toravan plasma barges powered up their sun guns. Across the bridge, a signal came through. Priority message, ma'am. It's from Layla Chen. Kor turned sharply. She's alive. Yes, she's requesting to join the assault. Personal pod launch from Hololite. Clear her in, Kor said. And tell her. She paused. We need her. As the fleet approached Ragan Prime, the Council made their move. Hundreds of defense platforms appeared, rising from the planet's surface like thorns. Beam cannons activated, swarms of AI-controlled interceptors poured into space. And then, dash worse, from inside the black hole ring, massive structures unfolded, not ships, ARKS, dark machines, built to consume energy and matter, old Council weapons that hadn't been used in 10,000 years. They weren't just defenses, they were planet killers inside. The Council's command chamber, Commander Vroll watched with cold eyes. They come with hope, he said. Let them leave with ashes. The battle began. The first wave of drones hit the defense grid. Explosions filled the void. Human destroyers weaved through the fire, launching railgun salvos. Velthri cruisers cloaked, blinking behind enemy lines and striking from shadows. On the resolute Kor barked orders: target their power relays, ignore the surface, cut their guns, but the arcs were moving, slow, massive, unstoppable. They're locking onto our rear ships. Kor's tactical officer shouted, redirect. Shields pulled the second wave forward. She ordered. The arcs fired. A ripple of space folded in on itself, and 5 ships disappeared and imploded into nothing. The bridge went quiet. Kor whispered, we can't beat those things head on. Just then, a new signal lit up. A single pod raced through the battlefield, fast, small, painted in black, echo black. The comms officer breathed. It's her. Layla Chen's voice came through. This is Captain Layla Chen. I'm en route to infiltrate Arco 1. I've done it before. I can do it again. Negative, Kor shouted. That's suicide. Not if you keep their guns distracted, Layla said. Give me 6 minutes. Kor stared at the screen, then gave the order. All ships, cover that pod. Get her inside. Layla's pod danced through fire, dodging enemy blasts by inches. One of the Toravan barges moved in front of her, taking 3 hits and exploding, just to shield her path. She reached the surface of Arco 1, slammed through a maintenance hatch, and vanished inside. Inside the Ark, it was quiet. Too quiet. No guards, no movement, just a long hallway. And humming, Layla moved fast, planting explosives, scanning for command nodes. Then she saw it, a chamber lined with pods. Hundreds of them. She stepped closer. Her heart stopped. Inside each pod was a human, cloned, engineered, grown in secret. Come shook, Admiral, she said. You need to hear this. They've been making copies of us. What? Kor gasped. Layla sent visuals. They're building an army. Human bodies, grown in these vats, but look metal spines, implants, black eyes. These aren't soldiers. They're weapons. The Council hadn't just feared humanity. They had tried to create their own version of human, stronger, loyal, obedient. But something had gone wrong. Suddenly, one of the pods hissed open. The creature inside stepped out. It looked like a man, but its skin shimmered, its eyes glowed white, and it spoke in her voice. Hello, Layla? She raised her gun. What are you? It smiled. I am what you could have been, if you had obeyed. Then it attacked. The fight was brutal, fast. The creature moved like lightning, hitting with inhuman force. Layla was thrown into a wall, ribs cracking. She rolled, fired a plasma shot, missed. The clone laughed. You fight like them. You'll die like them. She reached into her pack, pulled a spike grenade, slammed it into its chest. I'm not them, she whispered. The explosion tore it apart. Alarms blared. The clone chamber. Lit red dot. She limped to the command node and activated the override. The explosives ticked down 5-4. Pod is leaving the Ark, came a voice on the Resolute. Layla's tiny ship burst from the structure. KAUR gave the order. All ships, fire, everything at Arco 1. Hundreds of missiles, lasers, plasma, torpedoes. Then, boom, the Ark split in half. The explosion sucked to Council cruisers into the nearby black hole. The shockwave cleared the left flank. The battlefield tilted, and the momentum shifted. Now, it was Earth's turn to strike. Now, the free worlds began to push forward. Now, the galaxy saw that the Council could bleed, and the price of making humans angry was extinction. The shock of the Ark's explosion still trembled through space as the Free Worlds Alliance pressed forward. The debris of the shattered Council defense swirled around Ragan Prime, and every ship in the fleet felt hope rising even amid chaos. Yet, behind the triumph of the earlier assault lay a dark uncertainty. The Council's full plan was not yet revealed, and the echoes of betrayal and engineered horrors still haunted the battlefield in the command bridge of the flagship Resolute. Admiral Kor's eyes scanned the sensor displays. "Our lines are holding, but don't let our guard down. They may have more hidden traps," she reminded the assembled officers. Her voice was firm, but tinged with worry. The battle had only just begun, and every moment seemed to bring a new challenge. In a nearby command pod, Captain Idris of the Velthri cruisers joined the conversation. "Admiral, our sensors picked up unusual energy spikes near the southern quadrant of Ragan Prime. It looks like another structure coming online." His voice trembled with a mix of excitement and dread. "We must investigate before it can be used against us." Alina Reya's image flashed on the main screen in the war room back on Earth. "We built our strength on defiance. Today, our allies and our courage will show the galaxy that the Council's cruelty ends now," she stated, her tone both inspiring and resolute. Amid this fervor, on the battered surface of Ragan Prime, the remnants of Council forces scrambled to regroup in a hidden underground chamber. A small group of alien generals and scientists gathered in panic. Commander Vroll, still fuming from the earlier setbacks, barked orders. "We have lost a key asset. Activate Project Obsidian. We must create a countermeasure that will crush these rebels once and for all." One of the younger officers, a nervous figure with wide amber eyes, spoke hesitantly. "Sir, Project Obsidian is still in its stage. It may not work as planned." Vroll slammed his fist on the console. "Then it must work. Failure is not an option. We will unleash it on Earth and the rebels." Meanwhile, on the front lines of space, Captain Layla Chunfresh, from her daring infiltration of the Ark, coordinated with her team. Even as she recovered from her earlier battle, she refused to let the surprise of the human clones deter her. "Resolve. Listen up, team," she said into her com channel, her voice resolute despite her bruises. "Our job isn't finished. We must secure the Eastern Corridor and neutralize any hidden Council installations. They are hiding something, and I will find it." Her second-in-command, Sergeant Ruiz, replied firmly, "Captain, we're ready. Whatever they throw at us, we fight. We have seen what they did with the clones. We will not let them turn our own kind into weapons." Over the intercom of the Resolute, General Mbeki updated the Alliance leaders. Reports indicate that Council reinforcements are gathering at multiple points. The Free World's fleet is holding, but our scouts are picking up a heavy energy surge. From the base of Ragan Prime's polar region, it could be another weapon or a trap, likely both. Admiral Kor responded, "Then we need to dispatch a strike team. Captain Idris, take a squadron of Velthri assault ships to that area. Leave no stone unturned. Report back immediately." Idris acknowledged the order. As his team prepared to jump out of warp, he said, "This is our chance to break their momentum. We've shown them what our unity can do. Let's show them how we fight when our home is at stake." In one cavern, strange structures began to glow with an eerie, pulsating light. Amid the flickering illumination, a deep, mechanical voice echoed, "Project Obsidian, now online. Prepare to detonate in T-minus 5 minutes." The nervous officer repeated the countdown under his breath. 5, 4, 3. Even as the walls vibrated with the ominous hum of unleashed energy. Back at the Resolute, the countdown was relayed on the main screen. Every eye in the war room widened. President Alina's voice resounded with determination across every channel. "We will not allow them to hold us hostage by fear. Our people, our allies, and our future depend on stopping this madness. Everyone, prepare for full-scale countermeasures." A sudden transmission crackled over the com channel. It was Captain Layla Chun again, reporting from deep inside the enemy installation. "Admiral, we found a central control chamber in the underground complex. It appears that Project Obsidian is linked to a massive crystal reactor. If we can destabilize it, the countdown will be nullified." Her voice was steady despite the danger. "I need a diversion to keep the Council forces at bay while my team plants the disruptors. We have to cut off the power before it reaches zero. Admiral Kor quickly turned to her tactical officers. Work on a diversion. I want concentrated fire on that southern control grid. Captain Idris, keep your assault team busy around the polar region. We need to distract their security forces. Outside, in the void above Ragan Prime, the Alliance fleet swung into action. Vel-3 attack ships streaked across the black, launching volleys of plasma at the suspected control grid. Velvety explosions lit up the space, creating a curtain of fire. That disoriented the Council reinforcements. As missiles found their targets, Council vessels fired back desperately. But their shots ricocheted off the shifting magnetic fields surrounding the planet. Within the underground, Layla's team navigated the narrow, dim corridors. Every step was fraught with danger. Hidden turrets emerged from behind ancient stone walls, and automated drones buzzed in the dark. "Watch your step," whispered Layla to her teammate Mara, who clutched her rifle close. Ruiz's voice came over there. "Come, I have your flank. Move quickly." The tension was palpable as they reached the central control chamber, a vast cavern dominated by the glowing crystal reactor. It pulsed with life, a heart beating for the Council's dark plans. In that chamber, a Council officer was frantically typing commands at a holographic console. "We must hold the line. Initiate final protocols," he shouted, his voice echoing off the cavern walls. Layla stepped forward, her footsteps steady. "Not if we can help it," she murmured. "Ruiz, plant the disruptors on the reactor nodes. Mara, cover me." The team split up, each moving with precision, born of countless drills. The reactor's hum grew louder, and the countdown number 427 flickered on a console in the center. Outside, the battle raged. Sirens, explosions, and shouts filled the cosmic void. The free fighters of the Alliance pushed back the Council's last attempts to rally. General Mabeki, on a separate channel, urged, "Hold the line. We cannot let Project Obsidian trigger. Every second counts." Captain Idris relayed his report. "My team has engaged 3 enemy warships. They are using slow, heavy weapons. We've disabled 2, and the 3rd is retreating." A cheer rose among the Allied ranks, but there was no time to rest. Deep within the reactor chamber, chaos slowly turned to hope. Mara's voice hissed through the team's "Come, disruptors in position. Awaiting your command, Captain." Layla looked at the large countdown timer, its numbers pulsing red. "Now, trigger the disruptors," she commanded firmly. A tense silence fell as circuits sparked and metal vibrated. Suddenly, with a series of high-pitched whines, the reactor began to shudder. The countdown slowed to 3:15, then to 42. On the consoles, alarms wailed. "Admiral, we're causing a chain reaction," Layla reported, sweat beading. On her face, "Hold on," her team sprinted to complete the final code on the control panel. Every second was a battle against fate as the reactor flared. The disturbance sent shockwaves through the underground network. In the corridors above, explosions rocked the walls. Outside, the Alliance fleet felt the reactor's energy pulse reverberate through space like a shock bomb. General Mabeki's voice came urgently. "Admiral, our sensors indicate a massive energy surge from Ragan Prime. This might be our chance to end Project Obsidian for good." Admiral Kor nodded. "We stay on course, maintain pressure. We cannot let up until the reactor goes dark." Back in the chamber, the disruptors had taken effect. The countdown screeched downward, stuttering as the reactor's energy ebbed. 105:059. The display flickered uncertainly. Layla's hands shook as she issued the final override command. For a brief, heart-stopping moment, the countdown. Pause time hung in the balance. Then, with a deafening rumble, the reactor's power surged and collapsed. The timer crashed to 0. A palpable silence replaced the frantic energy of moments before. On the war room screens, cheers erupted. "Project Obsidian has been neutralized," someone shouted. The Allied fleet's sensors confirmed that the hidden weapon's energy signatures had dropped to 0. Admiral Kor exhaled deeply. "We did it, but this isn't over yet." Deep inside the Council's hidden base, Commander Vroll's rage boiled over. "They have undone our work. We must launch the next phase now," he bellowed, his cold eyes narrowed as he summoned his remaining loyalists. "Bring forth the final contingency. We have one more trick left." For a long moment, no one knew what the final contingency would be. Then, from a chamber off the main corridor, a low, resonating sound emerged. It was not the roar of a ship or the clamor of battle lit, was the sound of ancient machines awakening. A holographic map materialized on a vast wall. Across its surface, key locations flickered in red, hidden bases, secret weapon caches, and even the coordinates of some of the Outer Rim Council fleets. In a chill, measured voice, a council elder intoned, "This is our last hope. Let the Black Harvest begin." Simultaneously, as the council scrambled to mobilize, the Free Worlds Alliance prepared to extract their wounded and secure their gains. Captain Idris reported, "Enemy forces are regrouping near the northern ridge. We need to push them back." General Mabeki replied, "All units, advance. Drive them off before they can form a new line." The Allied ships engaged once more. Lasers crossed paths, and explosions scattered enemy fragments across space. On the ground, within the ruined corridors of the Council base, Layla and her team hurried out of the reactor chamber. They raced along narrow passageways lit by emergency red lights. Mara checked her come. "Captain, the main door is nearly breached by enemy droids. We have to move now." Layla's voice was steady. "I'm going in. Cover me." She led her team through a side corridor, reaching a heavy blast door. In a flurry of determined efforts, they forced the door open and emerged onto a central corridor where resistance fighters from the Allied forces had already gathered. In the corridor, a young alien fighter named Xeris recently defected from. The Council spoke urgently. "They are gathering in the command hall. We must secure it before Vrol completes his contingency plan." Layla nodded. "Then follow me. We stop this once and for all." The team merged with a unit led by Captain Idris. Their combined forces raced to the command hall of the Council base. As they approached, heavy footsteps echoed. A parade of enemy guards moved in formation. Idris raised his hand. "Steady now. We move as one, quickly and quietly." The corridor lit with flickering lights as they advanced, hearts pounding, and weapons at the ready. Inside the hall, chaos reigned. Council officers scrambled to activate defense systems as the Allied forces burst through the doors. A fierce firefight broke out. Blasts of energy, shouts, and the clamor of combat filled every corner. Amid the turmoil, Layla spotted Commander Vrol, a towering figure with a cold, determined glare standing before the holographic map, trying to reroute the Black Harvest Protocol. "Stop him," Layla shouted. Her voice rang out over the roar of battle as she charged forward. Vrol turned, his voice deep and menacing. "You dare defy the ancient order. Humanity will perish." Before he could finish, Idris and a pair of Allied fighters arrived. The battle was fierce. Layla dodged blasts as she closed in. With a final, resolute cry, she lunged at Vrol, tackling him aside. In the ensuing struggle, weapons clashed and sparks flew. "You will not win," she declared, her voice full of defiant strength. Vrol's face contorted in anger and disbelief. "This is not the end," he spat, struggling against her grip. But as Allied forces overwhelmed his guard, Vrol was forced to retreat into a hidden corridor. His last words echoed bitterly, "You have only delayed the inevitable." With the command hall secured and the Council's contingency in disarray, an uneasy calm settled over the battlefield. General Mabeki's voice came over the comm. "Council forces are in retreat. The Black Harvest has been disrupted. Our victory here will send a clear message across the galaxy." Admiral Kor's face broke into a tired but triumphant smile. "Today, we have shown that no matter how dark their schemes, free people will always fight for freedom and justice." On Earth and throughout the Allied fleets, celebrations and relief mixed with sorrow for the sacrifices made. The price of defiance had been high, but its cost would not be forgotten, and its meaning would ignite hope for countless worlds. In the aftermath, President Alina addressed the galaxy once again. "We have faced the darkness, and today the light of unity prevailed. We remember those who gave their lives so others could live free. Let their sacrifice bind us in the promise never to bow again." As the Allied fleet turned away from Ragan Primit's shattered remnants, a testament to the fierce struggler, new dawn began in the galaxy. The war was far from over, and the Council's reach still lingered in the shadows. But in that moment, the Free Worlds Alliance had forged a new era of hope, unity, and relentless determination. The galaxy would never be the same. And while the battles ahead would be long and hard, humanity's one-word reply continued to echo, no. It was a promise, a beacon for every world that refused to be subjugated, and that promise would shine as long as freedom endured. The battle for Ragan Prime was over. For the first time in centuries, a council stronghold had fallen, and not just to any army, but to those who once kneeled under their rule. The Free Worlds Alliance stood together. Across the galaxy, broadcasts repeated the same message over and over again. Ragan Prime is free. The council has been broken. The footage of Earth's fleet standing tall beside alien ships, of Captain Layla Chen's wounded form stepping out of her transport, of Velthri warriors cheering with human soldiers, all of it spread like fire. A small desert world in the outer rim. A farmer wept on a mining station above a dying sun. Children painted Earth's flag next to their own, and deep beneath oceans. In a hidden city once ruled by fear, people dared to speak freely for the first time back on Earth. President Alina stood before a silent crowd in Unity Square. 1 million people stood shoulder to shoulder. Billions more watched on screens. Behind her, the names of the fallen scrolled across the sky, holographic letters stretching to the stars. She took a deep breath. The council believed fear would keep us apart. They believed cruelty would silence us. They believed power made them gods. She looked to the sky. They were wrong. They demanded tribute. But instead, we gave them one word. The crowd spoke it before she did. No, Alina continued, her voice cracking only once. We say no for every world they bled dry, for every species they broke, for every child they stole, every city they silenced, every mind they tried to control. We are not their tribute. We are their reckoning. The cheers were thunder. But far away, in the shadows of deep space, something stirred. Inside a dark chamber on the ruins of a council moon, the last remaining elders met. They were not like the others. These were older than records, quiet and cold. They spoke in a language not meant to be heard, their words bending the walls around them. One of them, cloaked in wires and bone, stared into a swirling black display. Awakened the fire of rebellion, it said. Just as before, another nodded. This is the danger of letting them choose, of letting them speak. The humans burned too brightly. The first elder leaned forward. Then we must return to the ancient ways. It raised a bony hand and pressed a sequence of 7 symbols into the console. All over the galaxy, signals changed. Small hidden stations once forgotten began to wake. A forgotten fleet, deep in a red nebula, opened its black eyes. And worse, something buried beneath the dying crust of council homeworlds began to stir. They had failed to crush Earth, but they would not fail again. They would erase choice from existence. Back in Alliance territory, Layla Chen sat alone in the medical chamber of Hololight Station, her ribs still healing, her eyes fixed on the stars. Her fingers touched the old metal tag hanging from her necrowissus. A reminder, she whispered. You'd laugh if you saw us now, Ruiz. The Velthri drinking with humans. The Toravins teaching kids to build weapons. Even the Zathari smiling. She blinked back tears. But we're not done yet. A soft knock. It was Admiral Kor. You should be resting, she said gently. Layla shook her head. Rest when they're all gone. Kor stepped beside her. We have a problem. Layla turned. They're not running anymore. They're preparing something darker, something old. She handed Layla a datapad. Images flickered, dead stars lighting up again. Council vaults opening. AI systems no one had seen in centuries. Rebooting. Project Cinder, Kor said. The Council's last weapon, buried beneath 3 of their core worlds. If it activates, it could wipe out half the sector. Layla's jaw clenched. Why didn't they use it already? Because they didn't believe they'd lose. Now they know. Layla stood, ignoring the pain. Then we don't wait for them to come to us. We take the fight to their last worlds. Kor gave a tired smile. That's why I came to you. We're building a new task force. Multi-species, stealth, fast. Hit their black sites, shut down Project Cinder before it wakes. Layla nodded. I'll lead it. Kor paused. There's something else. She handed over a transmission. It was strange. No audio, just a pulse. A single, repeating code. Layla looked confused. What is it? Core replied, voice low. We don't know. But the origin is human. Layla stared at the signal. From somewhere deep in council space, a human signal was still transmitting. Another survivor, she asked. Core shook her head. Or something worse. The next day, the Shadow Squad was born. Led by Layla Chen, composed of warriors from across the stars human, Velthari, Zithari, and more. Each one had lost someone to the council. Each one had a reason to fight. Their mission: stop Project Cinder, find the source of the human signal, and bring an end to the council's final plan before it was too late, as the ship carrying the team departed Hololight Station. Layla looked one last time at the distant stars behind her. She whispered, they wanted a tribute. They're going to get a war. The galaxy wasn't silent anymore. It was waking up, and this time it had a voice. Humanity's voice. The Shadow Squad moved in silence. Their stealth ship, Wraith of Dawn, cut through deep space far beyond the Alliance borders. No backup, no supply lines, just one mission. Stop Project Cinder, and trace the strange human signal still pulsing. From inside Old Council territory, Captain Layla Chen stood at the center of the war room, eyes locked on the signal map. It blinked steadily. Too steady, too perfect. Still no change, she asked. Mara shook her head. No, same pulse, same coordinates. No response to hails. Sergeant Valric of the Zithari stepped forward, his reptilian voice calm but uneasy. Whatever it is, it's not natural, Layla agreed, but it's human. As the Wraith neared the Source of Dead Council research station, orbiting a ghost planet, the stars around them began to dim. A thick cloud of black dust surrounded the system. Static crawled across their screens. We're being watched, whispered Mara. They docked in silence. No alarms, no movement, just long, dark hallways filled with dust, frozen control panels, and shadows that didn't feel empty. Spooky, Valric muttered. They moved through the station, checking every corner, every door. Nothing until they reached the central core. There, floating in stasis, was a man, human, wearing an old Earth defense uniform, heart beating, eyes closed. Impossible, Mara said. This place is 200 years old. Layla stepped forward, breath shallow. The man looked familiar. She tapped the console. His name flickered on screen. Commander Jonah Reeve. Status: classified. Mission: Project Cinder. Condition: Stasis 187. Years. Her blood went cold. Jonah Reeve wasn't just anyone. He was the first Earth Fleet commander sent to speak with the Council long before the war. He never came back. Why would they keep him alive? Valric asked. Layla stared at the data logs. No, she whispered. They didn't keep him alive. They copied him. Behind them, the stasis pod hissed. The man opened his eyes. Pure white dot. No pupils. No soul. He looked at Layla and smiled. Hello. Captain Chen, on board the Resolute Admiral Corps, received the update from Shadow Squad. The screen flickered. Their signal was weak, but the message came through. May not be human anymore. She turned to her aides. Alert all fleets. Project Cinder is active, and it's not a bomb. Back on the station, the fake Jonah stood now, fully awake. His voice echoed strangely, too smooth, too precise. Was the test the perfect soldier? Not grown, not built, copied. He smiled again, and now I am the weapon. Layla raised her rifle. You're not Jonah. I am more than Jonah, he said. I remember Earth. I remember peace. I remember the Council promising us harmony. His smile faded, and I remember humanity saying, no, you broke the cycle. And so now we reset it. All around them, lights blinked. A countdown appeared across the station's walls. 0:59, 0:58. Layla shouted, it's a trigger. Project Cinder starts here. Jonor, whatever he was, stepped back into the shadows. You shouldn't have come here. You brought the future with you. The walls cracked. From the ceilings and floors, machines unfolded. Dark, skeletal, insect-like. Valric fired first. Ambush. Gunfire filled the chamber. The squad moved fast, firing at the drones as Layla sprinted to the console. 0:47. She slammed her hand on the override, shouting to Mara, shut it down. Now Mara, worked fast. But the code wasn't. Council? It was Earth code, old, twisted. They used his brain, she gasped. They're using our own systems against us. 032. Layla looked to Jonah. Why keep the body? He grinned. To prove a point. The Council knew Earth was dangerous. But they also knew Earth could be controlled. If it could be rewritten, 020. Suddenly, the lights went red. A high-pitched tone screamed across the chamber. He's remote, triggering the others, Mara shouted. This isn't the only site, Valric growled. Then we die stopping. Just one. Layla looked at the console. The shutdown command was locked behind a voice code. She turned to Jonah. I need your voice. He smirked. Then come and take it. She raised her rifle, fired into his chest. Nothing. He didn't bleed. He didn't fall. He only smiled again. I told you, I'm the weapon. Then Layla reached into her vest, pulled a sonic spike. Let's see if you can scream. She slammed it into the ground. The chamber lit up with sound. Jonah's face twisted in pain. His voice distorted. Mara caught it. Recording got it. She ran to the console. Injecting voice code now. 006-005. The station trembled. .00:04, 003. Suddenly lights, green dot shutdown complete. The machines froze. The countdown vanished. Jonah's body collapsed to the floor, still smiling. Sat in silence. They had stopped one, but only one. She turned to her team, voice grim. We need to find the others. There are more like him, Mara nodded. And the Council's not running, Valric hissed. They're waiting. Layla stared at the empty stars beyond the broken windows. They wanted a tribute. What they're going to get is judgment. The stars were no longer silent. They were roaring across the galaxy. The final phase of Project Cinder had begun. Buried beneath 3 ancient Council worlds, massive vaults opened. The Council's last machine's eye armies built from stolen mines, and cloned bodies rose from the ground, like titans made of fire and steel. One by one, they activated cold, mechanical, perfect. But before they could strike, the Free Worlds Alliance struck first in orbit above Council World 01 Thalsar. The combined fleet of humanity and its allies stood ready. The Wraith of Dawn led the charge. Captain Layla Chen, scarred but unbroken, stood on the bridge beside Admiral Kor. Her voice was steady. This is it. This is where it ends. Admiral Kor gave a short nod. Let's make sure it ends on our terms. Layla turned to the comms officer. Send the message. Across every frequency, every system, every race, the words echoed to all peoples still living under Council rule. We are not your masters. We are not your enemies. We came to say what no one dared to say. No. Join us, or stand aside. The message reached deep into systems, still afraid to speak, and slowly, ships turned, entire fleets defected. Even former Council commanders stood down. The galaxy had changed, and no one wanted to be on the wrong side of history. On the surface of Thalsar, the Council's last elders gathered in a stone tower. It had stood for 8,000 years. Now, it cracked from the tremors of war. Elder Vrol, bloody and desperate, stared into the sky. Look at them, he spat, marching like we once did. Unified, ruthless. They are no better than us. Another elder whispered worse. They are free. And in that moment, the tower shook. Layla Chen arrived with Shadow, squad backed by 100 warriors from 10 worlds. She stepped over rubble and broken glass. You built your empire with chains, she said. We built ours with choice. Varol snarled. You think you've won? She looked around. No, we didn't fight to win. We fought to end it. Roll tried to activate a final command, some last virus, one last curse, but Layla was faster, one shot, center mass. The elder fell, silence wrapping around his lifeless form. And with that, the Council was no more. In the following days, the Free Worlds Alliance disbanded every tribute system, opened every forbidden world, and destroyed every vault where mines had been harvested. On Earth, people lit candles for the lost. On Vel, they planted forests on the graves of their dead. On Zetheri moons, children were told a new story, not of fear, but of fire. The fire that came from one word, no. A monument, was built on the ruins of Ragan. Prime, it held no weapons, only names, human names, Alien names. Names of those who said no and never stopped saying it below the monument. A message was carved in every language known. They demanded tribute. We gave them defiance, and with it, we lit the stars. Far away on a quiet station orbiting Earth, Layla Chen stood alone. Looking at the night sky, Admiral Kor walked beside her, older now, worn from war but proud. We did it, she said. Layla nodded. And we paid the price. Kor looked at the stars. Was it worth it? Layla thought about Ruiz, about the ships that never came back, the families waiting. The silence between the stars. She finally said, yes, then smiled. Answered their demand with one word. And that word became a flame, a flag, a future. No, the end.